Good day. In this video, we're going to show you how to solve these two equations. They involve equations with fractions. Our first equation looks like this. We've got 1 over x plus 1 minus 1 equals 2x over minus x plus 1. The question will read, solve for x. What we will do is we will make all of these terms fractions, so that one's not right yet, and make the bottoms friendly. The bottoms is called the denominators. Just copy this fraction down and put this packet in brackets. Write a minus and change this into a fraction, 1 over 1. Then you write the top part of this fraction down and you make the bottom friendly. In time, you'll get used to this. We pulled out a minus here, and then this became x minus 1 in a packet again with a bracket. Next, I don't want my minus in my denominator, so I just move him to the front or to the top. Now, if you want to solve an equation with fractions, you have to times all your terms by the LCD. The LCD will be 1, x plus 1, and x minus 1. The one I saw there's x plus 1 and there's x minus 1. Next, you have your restriction. X is not allowed to be minus 1 and x is not allowed to be plus 1. If you look in this bracket, x is not allowed to be minus 1. If you put a minus 1 plus 1, you'll get a 0 here. You're not allowed to divide by a 0. From down here, we know that x is not allowed to be plus 1. If you put a plus 1 in here, minus 1 will give you a 0. You're not allowed to divide by a 0. If you don't understand this restriction, just leave it out. You might lose 1 mark someday. So we're now going to times this whole equation by the LCD, piece by piece. If you times this fraction by this LCD, the x plus 1 will cancel, and you'll end up with this 1 times the x minus 1, which you write down. Gone is this fraction. Then you'll times this LCD with this term. That'll leave you with that minus 1 times x minus 1, x plus 1. Then you put down your equal. Then you times your LCD with this term. You put down your minus 2x that came from there. You cancel the x minus 1 with the x minus 1. You still have to times by the x plus 1, which you put next door here. Now we just simplify this and simplify that. First we times this 1 into this bracket. 1 times x is x and 1 times minus 1 is minus 1. Next we put the minus 1 down and simplify these two brackets together by timesing them out. Times x is x squared and minus 1 times plus 1 is minus 1. This is the difference of two squares. Now we times the minus 2x into this bracket. Minus 2x times x is minus 2x squared. Minus 2x times plus 1 is minus 2x. Now we simplify further. We keep the x minus 1, write it down, times the minus 1 into this bracket, which will give us this, and then we bring this down. From here, I like to simplify my left-hand side first and leave the right-hand side. It's already been simplified. Like I said, the right-hand side will stay the way it were. And here, I will just go minus x squared, write it down. Write down the plus x, minus 1 plus 1 is 0. Now I can see this is a quadratic equation. So I take everything to one side and make the other side equal to 0. To get this minus 2x squared away, I will plus 2x squared on this side, and that will leave me with x squared. To get the minus 2x away from here, I will plus 2x on this side and plus 2x on this side. It will give me plus 3x here, equal to 0. Now we factorize the left-hand side. Take out a common factor. You'll have x bracket x plus 3 equals to 0. Firstly, we will write that x equals to 0. I have one answer. Or x plus 3 equals to 0. And I will simplify this one too. That gives us x is equal to minus 3. Then we look at our restriction. X is not allowed to be minus 1 and x is not allowed to be plus 1. And that's not one of my two answers. So both these answers are acceptable. So solve for x, we solved, x is equal to 0 or x equals to minus 3 for this fraction equation. Our second equation with fractions, it says solve for x for this equation with fractions. Firstly, we have to make everything fractions. We are lucky, all is fractions. Next, we make the bottoms friendly and factorize the bottoms. Big words for the bottoms, the denominators. We start with the first fraction, we put down our line, write the top down and factorize the bottom part, which will look like this. Now we have to make this friendly. This bottom looks the wrong way around, so I change this sign and flip these two terms over the minus. So I put the minus here, flip these two over the minus and put a bracket around it. Keep the 4. Keep the equal. Now I have to rearrange these. They should be in descending order of x. So nothing is changing yet. The minus waits there, the 4 waits there, and this bottom I just write in the right descending order. X squared plus 4x plus 3. Because these fraction equations take so much time, we leave lines open between our steps, so that I could now factorize this bottom separately from the rest. So if you take this x squared plus 4x plus 3 and you factorize it, you'll end up with this. And you put a line through that denominator not to get confused. Now we have an equation with fractions and the bottoms are friendly. So now we will times all terms by the LCD. Now LCD will be x plus 1, x minus 2, and x plus 3. Then you write down our restriction. X is not allowed to be minus 1 from there. X is not allowed to be plus 2 from there. And x is not allowed to be minus 3 from there. If you times this fraction with the LCD, you'll cancel the x plus 1 with the x plus 1, the x minus 2 with the x minus 2, and you'll times the x plus 3 with this top part. So we write the top part down in a bracket and write times x plus 3. Then if we times this fraction with the LCD, you'll write down your minus 4. You'll cancel the x minus 2 with that x minus 2, and you'll times the minus 4 with both those brackets. Keep your equal, write down your minus 4. Then because you're timesing this whole fraction with your LCD, you'll cancel the x plus 3 with the x plus 3, the x plus 1 with the x plus 1, and you'll times the minus 4 with this x minus 2. Now we will simplify these two brackets, simplify this, and simplify this separately. If you times these two brackets out, you'll get this answer. You write this minus 4 down, and you simplify by timesing these two brackets out. In a separate bracket, that'll give you this answer. Then you times this minus 4 into this bracket. Minus 4 times x is minus 4x, and minus 4 times minus 2 is plus 8. Then we still have to times this minus 4 into this bracket and simplify this a little bit more. Keep the 3x squared, add the 9x plus 6x is plus 15x, keep the plus 18, times the minus 4 into this bracket, and get the answer, and just bring this minus 4x plus 8 down. Like I said previously, I'd like to simplify the left-hand side and keep the right-hand side for a minute. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. The plus 3x squared minus 4x squared will give me minus x squared. The plus 15x minus 16x will give me a minus 1x. Plus 18 minus 12 will give me a plus 6. Keep the right-hand side. Now I can see I have an equation. We call it a quadratic equation. So we'll take everything to one side and equate it to 0. I took it to the right-hand side to get my x squared positive. Took the minus x to this side. Becomes a plus x. I plus x on both sides. I get x squared minus 3x. And I minus a 6 on both sides. And I get here plus 2. All of this equals to 0. Now we have to factorize this, which will end up looking like this. Then from here we get the answer x equals to plus 1, and from here we get the answer x equals to plus 2. Now we check our restrictions. x is not allowed to be minus 1 or plus 2 or minus 3. Here I can see x is equal to plus 1, he is fine. X is equal to plus 2 is not allowed. You don't write this down again, I'm just showing it to you. So that tells me this guy is not allowed to be here. Then you may write, only x is equal to 1 works, x is not allowed to be plus 2. And that'll be your final answer. You do not have to explain all this in here. After you get to this step, you can just check and come back here and just put a little line through this equal here, so that then says x is equal to 1 or x is not allowed to be plus 2, and you can stop there. Please stop the video and get your brain around exactly what happened from the beginning to the end. Please indicate whether you liked or disliked the video and subscribe to the channel. If you run into any school mathematical problem that you have trouble solving, you can send a clear WhatsApp photo of your problem to this number and a clear WhatsApp photo of where you tried it. Then we will try and solve it and send back an answer to you as soon as possible. Enjoy equations with fractions.